How are we doing? Boy, if you're wondering why I'm still wearing the same thing, the weather is cold these days, and I don't do well in cold weathers. So I'm always going to be wearing this. But I'm okay. How are we all doing? Stream. Today we're going to be doing a lot more learning. At least I will try to. Learning chess is a pain, but I will try to. So basically, I went through some of the rapid games I played against like a friend of mine, and I went to look at the end game positions. Nihao Chess, how you doing? Welcome to the stream. Yeah. So I basically went to look at went to take those games, and we are basically going to look at the end games, how I could have played it, and if there were any better moves I could make. If I get bored of it, or if I get frustrated, we might just play some normal chess. But as always, we want to start up with the warm-ups. The puzzles are always necessary. And yeah. As always, I see that the PC just doesn't like me. It starts right off giving me an end game. So first off, I'm thinking about this. Again, I know it's not a good move, but I'm not looking at it because it's a good move, because of a potential idea of this, right? But it's too slow if I go this way, right? If I could, for example, get this move, my opponent plays something like this, and then, sorry, if I could play this, my opponent plays something like this, then this would make more sense, because if my opponent takes, then I'm just flying, right? But obviously it doesn't work. So the second thing that comes to mind is this. And I think I'm sacrificing these 2 pawns, is what I'm thinking. Pawn push, are we back? It's in the square. No, this is a rectangle, right? Yeah, it's a rectangle. It's a rectangle. I'm looking at pawn push. King can take. So I'm looking at takes. Pawn push again. Takes. And then I start moving, right? And if my opponent decides to play push here, then this guy just promotes. So I think it's simply just this move. If my opponent locks it up, I run out. I run. Say I push. My opponent takes. I have to play pawn push. I think that's it. We're supposed to sacrifice the pawns, and then because it's not a square, it's a rectangle. Whenever you draw a square from your pawn to the king, it means that the king has the ability to reach the pawn. I don't remember if it's whether it's on the four ends or anywhere on that square. I think it's anywhere on that square, right? But when you look at the position with the king over here, you realize that it's a rectangle. So since it's a rectangle, what that means is that the king won't have easy access to it. So I thought that was up for debate, but I felt like it could come this way. Samrat, right? Welcome, welcome, welcome. Good to see you all. So that was a very interesting one. I do wonder if this game is ever going to end up being a win. Because it's going to be very difficult to win this position, in my opinion. Because you need the king to support you to deal with one set of pawns before you can deal with the other set. So I don't know if it's like you want to deal with this first. But let's see what the engine does. Does it think that this is just completely winning? I might draw this because I don't know. Maybe if these pawns were a little bit further forward, then it's a different issue. But because they are far away from the queening squares, I think that's why it still values it higher. I forgot this yesterday. I will not forget it today. I forgot to play the music. Okay. If it's too loud, let me know. Is it playing? Yeah, it is. Okay, next puzzle. Middle game. First thing that comes to mind. What has my mouse? My mouse has been doing this. Next is this. I see this immediately. I have to type it a bit. Check here doesn't exist. Simply just that. Because you don't have like this move to try and threaten ticks, right? I think it's just G. I think it's just G4. Tick. Oh, you can't tick with the pawn. That's what I didn't. I was trying to figure out my opponent's defense, but yeah, you can't just take this guy. Queenside castles. Because this guy's still hanging for sure. I don't think going for this trade makes any sense. Castling seems to make more sense. Castling queens. Because castles and then you have rook takes. Regardless of what your opponent plays, right? If I'm wrong, I'm wrong. It just seems to make more sense. I don't know about taking here doesn't seem to make any sense to me. Castling kingside also doesn't seem to make much sense to me. But I think if you castle, your opponent has knight here. Point being, if you take the rook, then there's checkmate. I think castling queenside is the way. We still can't take with the pawn though, so we have to capture the knight, and that makes more sense, right? So step by step, that makes more sense. And if it will allow me, let me point what I was saying out. That if we were to castle here, this move is very scary. I don't think maybe engine does. Yeah, engine thinks it's fine. Yeah, it's a very scary move because if you do take, then you are just getting hit with this. Like it doesn't really. Oh, actually, I didn't look at that properly. I thought you just have this. I missed something there. So what's the right calculation? Takes here, is it just 9 takes? Yes, 9 takes and then 9 check and then you win the queen. Okay. So that's actually very interesting. That is actually very difficult move to see, but once you see it, you just won't castle king side. Yeah. Next one. That was an interesting puzzle. Okay. Instant threat of our opponent is this. There's also a check here. So what do we do? Doesn't look straightforward. There are some very slow moves that are in my head, but it's 3 moves, and I wonder what my opponent can do in those 3 moves, especially with the check and everything. So it's 1, 2, 3. Like this, where I want to get to 3, and then the next one is mate. But it seems so far-fetched. And I don't have a way of forcing it, right? If I could have forced it with something like this, that would make sense. But this move is just good. Pawn push discover doesn't work because your opponent just takes. Pawn push. They feel too slow. But what I haven't figured out is what my opponent can do. I still haven't figured it out yet. Because this move is not really a threat as it stands now. Right? Pawn push is also a problem for me. Oliver, how you doing? Good to see you. Dropped in early today. Congrats to you. What about this move? Going straight for the kill. Because if you take here, I'm going for the mating idea. You can't block by moving upwards. And you can't block this way. Yeah, right? And the added bonus of this move is that my opponent's queen cannot come in with the check because I just capture it. Okay, so what then else remains? After this move, it's this. That move. I can simply play this move. Yeah, it's puzzles for now, and then we'll look at endgames. Endgame positions, and we'll try and figure it out. So, viewer participation will be very nice. I know people want to learn, but you can learn with me. Let's figure out the moves together. You know, mostly people want to give moves with the streamer, so I think that's a very good time. Not when I'm playing active game. Yeah, and even here, it's very difficult to think about this one. Or maybe just coming in this way. Yeah, because the queen doesn't have this. But it does have access to this square. It's very annoying. I'm trying to figure out ways by which my opponent is not going to mess me up. So I'm very convinced this is the move I want to make. Right? It's much more to the point as compared to the 3-step plan I was talking about. Yeah. So I'm very convinced about this. What I'm not solved about, what I haven't solved yet is my opponent's responses. So I'm looking at, like, let's say he plays this. Maybe I come in here. Pawn push here doesn't work, but I think it's just a distraction tactic. In which case, I think I can just play here. And my opponent doesn't have anything. But what about here? Again, the queen can't come in there because I blocked that square. I think that's just it. I can't see any other convoluted ways my opponent. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong. Yeah. And we saw this. I don't like this move because it allows my opponent to come in here with check. Maybe the check doesn't amount to anything, but I just don't think I'm comfortable with that. And I'll just come in this way. And like I said, this is the square I want to hide on. Actually no. Now I want to hide here. That's funny. Because now the rook prevents the queen's check. If I come in here, there's still more checks. I might be safe on this square, but I don't know if that's what I want to risk. Wait, I'm not safe on that square. I forgot this guy exists. Yeah, I think you just I think you just want to come here. You can check again. And then you just take. Right? I think that's it. I just think that's it. That's a funny move. That's actually a very funny move. Yeah. Yeah, it just solves everything. Wait. Okay, but now after this, pawn push check takes. Oh no, wait. Takes, then queen comes in check. It's a whole lot. Am I a coach? Yes, I am. Yeah. That way, right? I think the response is still the same. I think the response is still the same. I think the response is still. We still take here. This opens up an attack on the queen, so this check is not viable anymore. Woo! Figured it out. Another interesting puzzle. I think it's very obvious when you realize this pawn. I mean, that's the first kind of like idea I was looking at, trying to get my queen here, right? But mostly you want to be straight and to the point. If your moves allow your opponent too much leeway to do whatever it is that they want, it doesn't help you. But the most important thing you notice here is that my plan is very straightforward and clear. What is not so clear is what my opponent is trying to do. I tried to evaluate deeply what my opponent would do. I missed one thing, which was the rook coming in here. But then, I mean, with the whole visualization process, you can figure it out. It may be a big problem for you if you don't see this move, especially if there's like some trick attached to it. But primarily, any plan you want to go for, you have to be very sure what your opponent's responses are. Otherwise, it can bite you in the face. Right, so a lot of the plans came from trying to figure out what my opponent can try and do to mess me up, and that's how we kind of like solve the whole process. That's what, 3, 2 more. 5 puzzles a day is fine, but you can do 10. 10 is also good. If you say what do I think is optimal, 20, because that's what I was doing when I started learning. What's the price and how do you book a lesson? That's based on your preference, like how you want the lessons. Because I have different payment plans for different types of training. So if you want to book, you just simply send me an email via the email I posted on the page, and we can discuss from there. But if you are looking for like a general thing, it's $15 an hour. If you are looking at it like that, if you just want that straightforward kind of approach. So what are we looking at here? So we noticed this, but there's no straightforward way to get this guy out of here. It's going to take too many moves to do that. So like knight here, if he takes, I can take with my king and then try and get this way, but this knight is always going to prevent me from promoting this guy. So sacrificing the knight here does not make much sense. This fork doesn't work because knight takes. The other option is to go pawn push. And if my opponent comes in this way, then we slowly come in this way. And in this case, my opponent is going to have a hard time catching this guy. Right, so maybe it's going to be pawn push. Takes, I jump in here. My opponent comes in here, I come in here. Nope, he comes in there, I can't do anything. Do I just simply go check here? It is not so sweet. Not so. It's not so straightforward for me. Not so straightforward for me. Here. Oh boy. Yeah, push the pawn does look good, but I can't figure it out. Like, there's one main thing I'm looking at, which is the fact that my opponent would want to stop my idea, right, by trying to capture this pawn. So I'm predicting that, like, if pawn push, to prevent this pawn from being solid in this square, he's going to capture. In which case I can take, and then now we see knight jumps in here. But maybe the plan here is to go pawn push here, like f5. Because once the knight comes in here, I can't step in here. Or neither can he, right? Yeah, okay, it doesn't stop it. Okay. I think I see your point. It doesn't actually stop. Because I'm thinking about how my opponent would try and capture this guy. So I'm thinking that he would want to take. I mean, if you play pawn push, this guy is just cemented there. And moving here is much easier, right? That H pawn has to promote for black to have winning chances. Exactly. For sure. Exactly. Just want to figure out what my opponent is going to try and do here. So I do like this move. But now the option of this comes into play. And also realizing that my opponent doesn't actually have this square at his disposal is kind of changing my mind, because this is a very nice square. Sorry, here is where he would want to go to. Like I said, here. There's no easier way to get to this pawn than that. Have I missed something? Okay, wait. There's here. Okay, that's also another way. But in the view of this, pawn push takes, knight jumps in here, preventing the king. F5. Knight jumps in here, and then I can just step in with my king, and that prevents him from going there. So he may not even bring the knight here in the first place. The obvious move I'm ignoring here is pawn push takes, knight takes, king steps here. It's the most obvious thing I'm not actually calculating, because my opponent then has what do you see? What do you mean? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And I'm here, so I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 as well. I think I'm one move ahead of my opponent. I'm not so sure. This is why I hate endgames, right? It's easier to calculate longer lines in the endgames, but you have to be precise, because move order is very, very particular here. So let's look at the line where my opponent tries to promote this pawn. Pawn push, I think he has to take, because if you do this, it becomes easier for me. I guess maybe not. So pawn push takes, king takes, knight takes, king takes, king comes in this way, king comes in this way, king comes in this way. Pawn push, king takes, pawn push, king takes, pawn push, pawn push, pawn push. I'm right. I promote first. But my opponent promotes with check. But I've won these 3 pawns. I have a queen. I have 2 extra pawns. My opponent has 1 more pawn. So he checks me here. I can simply move away, and the game continues. I think that's just a win. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong. Okay, so he goes for this move first. And this allows, basically, if I take the move that I was saying that he would want to play, takes here. King comes in, knight jumps back, and now it's targeting this. And here, my other move comes into play. Now we go f5. He can actually still capture, but my knight is blocking this. So if he does capture here, I still think it's wrong because my f pawn is now going to go up promotes. So I don't think he's going to take. I don't know what he's going to play because the position becomes very difficult for him here. Here, I think white is struggling. And I think the plan is simply like this. Takes. And what? So if I do that, I allow this. Do I take or do I not take? Knight jumps in. I think I just take. Allow. Take, he comes in here, I come in this way. Then he has to go back here. Now he's trapped. f4. I don't know what he's going to play here. But it looks like he doesn't have any good moves. It doesn't look like he has any good moves. That's basically what I'm thinking. It doesn't look like he has any good. Ah. Is it that? But I wanted to try and look at the analysis. So what would the other move be? Because I'm so not keen on playing my knight there. Oh, is it simply just this? He doesn't take? Because I'm looking at what? No, I was looking at this because now I can threaten this. Okay, I'm confused now. The knight move. Yeah, but I'm confused now. Like, now this is not so... Oh, ho. I'm so... So here I was worried too much about counterplay, and counterplay was not that strong. But my line of thinking was not wrong. I just did not find it properly. Yeah, it's about promoting the pawn. But then the question is, what's my opponent going to do? You know? So let's go through the line I was looking at here, right? So my opponent comes in here. I take, he takes. I come in here, he comes in here, right? This is what I'm thinking about. He wants to deal with this. I go here. Here I don't even know what my opponent plays. Right? It's like, this is just winning for black in my opinion, right? If I just turn on the engine, it's a draw. How? King comes in here. Is what the engine is saying. Knight jumps in here. I mean, I don't... Okay, he's going to sacrifice... Wait, this is not the line I was looking at. There was a line I was trying to calculate here. Oh, boy. I just have to go for his H-pawn. Yeah, you're right. You're right. But I messed up there, for sure. Because I was looking at takes here. Knight comes in here, f4. I don't know what he's going to play here. He stays beside the pawn. f5. Takes... No, this is not the line. It was... What was the line that I was looking at? Takes. Here. Here, I play this move here. Sorry. Here. And then takes, king takes. This is the line I was calculating in my mind. Here. King takes, pawn push, pawn promote. Oh, damn. I miscalculated because I thought in this position then he promotes, and this is why I was looking at the check. Visualization, guys. Okay, so that's why my opponent will not go for that line. So the whole idea is to simply try and capture this guy. So the reason you're not taking here is because if you take here, you kind of give your opponent the ability to trade off, right? And like Oliver is saying, the plan is to promote this pawn, so you don't want your opponent to capture it. So since knowing that your opponent coming here allows him to capture this pawn, you don't play into it. You play something completely different. That way, if your opponent now tries to commit to the idea, it just doesn't work, right? Because he's behind. And I think even here, you can go takes here. Knight jumps in, and then, yeah. You can basically, if I'm right, block off your opponent. I want to find the best way to do that, like here. And you block off your opponent because now you're just going to push. Actually, no, this does. Okay, that means there's extra steps to this which I haven't figured out. Have I finally blocked this guy off? Still haven't blocked this guy off. Still haven't blocked this guy off. Because now he plays this. Okay, now we have this move. Then he counts in with check. And we repeat the same process. Okay, no, we don't. Because now we come in here and he doesn't have access to these squares. So we just dilly-dally, shilly-shallied just to get back to the exact same position. Because now you don't have any squares you can move to. You can try and play this to distract me, I guess. Let's see what happens. If I take and you take this way, pawn push, yeah, you can. No, you can't actually. Yeah. Interesting. And this is why we love chess, because it makes us go mad. Anyways, that was a very difficult. Yeah, it is a long puzzle. Damn you. One more, and then we move on to the steady. Okay. Okay. Sorry, what is it? Rook e2 check. We are playing as white. Okay. First question is, where do I want to move the rook? The king, sorry. This is what sticks out to me. Was it attacks the knight? My opponent's option is to go knight here with check. I can come in here, and that's about it, right? Is there any trick I'm missing? I don't think so. Okay, so here, knight can jump in here with check. Or king comes in here. I think I just lose to this, right? So I have to come in this way. And that's about it. My opponent has nothing. Am I just defending myself? King f1 and you have a double attack on the king and the knight. Oh yeah, that's true as well. I was thinking this move, I'll throw it away because my opponent simply jumps in here. Yeah, that's true as well. But is it? Like, is that just it? Like, king f1, what can my opponent play? Okay, the knight is the only defender, so defending the knight doesn't do anything because I still take. Yeah, that could just be it. King f1. Yeah, king f1 just, I think. I'm just seeing if there's a trick move. Yeah, I was thinking about this, and this just saves you defensively because your opponent can continue the attack. But of course, here your opponent's move does double up, right? But in king f1, the double up just doesn't work. Because you just win the knight, and there's no stress on your position. Even if your opponent decides to take this guy, it's not a big deal as well, right? Because you just step in this way. Your opponent has this, but is there a draw there? No, I think you just play your rook back here. And your opponent can. We'll discuss all this. I think you are right. We'll just play it. Yeah. And this is the line I'm talking about. But I can simply come in here. But I didn't want him to play it immediately. I was thinking he would double first and lose the knight. But I think here he just attacked them. Wait. Something new is being added here. So we attack the rook and then he has check. Oh, then we just take. What am I thinking? And now we can take, right? Now we can take. So that was a trick move from our opponent. Like, if you just looked at one line, you would miss this. So I was looking at this, allowing him to take, coming in here, threatening to come back here. And if your opponent comes in here, then you infiltrate, right? And here you are going for a draw. And like how? For example, let's say you play pawn push. Now I'm just going to check you to oblivion, right? Check, check, check. Check here. Move, check here. You move, check here. You move, check here, you move. And that's a very like good draw resource that you can get if your opponent is not calculating. But I mean, there are a myriad of ways your opponent can stop this. For example, just this move stop, right? Because you can't come and check it. It just doesn't work. Another funny way you can do this is on push, right? Because your opponent can check, and then this time this. So yeah, a very good way of trying to draw the game, but doesn't. Okay, so that's 5 puzzles. Unfortunately, we got one wrong again, just like yesterday. That sucks. Okay, so now end games. We are working on end games together. So this is a game I played against a friend of mine, very good friend of the channel. He might pop in to the stream, who knows. It's been a while since he has popped in. I stopped streaming at midnight. When I started streaming at first, I used to stream around like midnight. But now that's a different story. I stream around 10 a.m. I stream around 12 midnight. Anyways, we're going to look at the opening is not important. That's not where my interest is. So we are jumping to when the position. Puzzles are fun. Some of them just torture your brain, you know. So I want us to get to the point where we trade off queens. It's a rook and pawn endgame I'm trying to solve here. I'm trying to get better at rook and pawn. So this is okay. So I take here, then my opponent makes a move. Very nice. So this is kind of like where I want us to start the discussion. I managed to draw this, but I don't know if I could have tried to win this because I have a pass pawn. So when you look at this position, for example, in king and pawn endgames, king rook pawn endgames, one of the things you want to get out of the way straightforward is your activity, right? You want to get your king as close to the center as possible. That's like plan 1. And if there are any strengths in your position, you kind of want to try and identify them and boost those possibilities. Then there's the whole question of zugzwang or position and everything. So in the end game, your pawn moves are very, very, very. I mean, throughout the game they are very important, but especially in the end game, right? Because that's what determines like zugzwang, right? Or who gets the opposition. So you want to be very, very cautious with how you move your pawns, and also you want to place your pawns in positions whereby your opponent is always. Can someone like if I try banning some of these words, it affects others. So like how do I, and some of my viewers too have numbers in their names, so how do I like deal with this thing effectively? Like, can someone help me with that? I want to really stop these best viewers guys from coming in. So yeah, so normally you'd want to like play this, something like that. And the thing is, I think I've not turned on my engine yet. I think you can even sacrifice this pawn, because again, all the pawns are on one side of the board, and even if your opponent has one extra pawn, this kind of a rook and pawn endgame is a draw if you know the technique. I think it's plausible. Let's see. King f8 is actually very possible, right? Like, let me. Anytime I turn on my engine, the stream lags. So it's not you, it's me, right? I just need to get a better PC. I tried reducing the RAM usage and everything. So anytime that happens, that's me. Let me turn on the engine. I mean my engine. Where's my engine thing? Yeah. Just so that you guys are not left out. Oh, it's not showing properly. Okay, that's. Okay. So yeah, you could do this because all the pawns are on one side, and rook and pawn endgames usually are drawn, even if your opponent has one extra pawn. But more often than not, you don't want to risk that, because you give your opponent something to fight for, and usually they become very annoying when they have something to fight for. So I think for me, the move here was kind of obvious, because it like this pawn is not like this pawn is passed, but it's an isolated pawn. So I wasn't so sure. I decided to save the pawn in case you want. But then when you look at it, your opponent, for example, you can play f4 and the king steps into the position. So I wasn't so sure if I could really save or hold on to this pawn. So I'm just trying to figure out like what is a better way of going about. So he plays h4. And h4 is a very nice move in these positions because if I allow my opponent, for example, let's just say I play this here, h5 is a very nice move. Red Tail Shark, how are you doing? Welcome to the stream. Welcome everyone. If you're enjoying what you're watching so far, you can always like. It does help me out. Trying to reach 1,000 subs for the end of my birthday, which is next month. So if you can do that, that would be great. Yeah, so why is h5 very good? It locks me down, right? So in the future where the rooks may not even exist, this hook, this pawn, I like to call them a hook pawn. That's not what a hook pawn is, but like this kind of pawn is really going to affect my development in certain positions, right? So this is very good. This is a very good move that your opponent can make, or you can make. It kind of locks down the position. Like it's this new engine kind of innovation that you've been seeing. You know, sometimes the engine just in a fianchetto structure, it leaves the pawn here. Yeah, it's that kind of thing. It's a very interesting thing. So I played g6 because I don't want it, but I think this is wrong. I think g6 is not that good of a move. Personally, I wasn't really trying to capture this pawn. I was trying to reduce the impact of this move. And the point is really just to play this. So that if my opponent takes, at least I'm getting my king closer. That's more the point, not really to take. Because I think if you take here, you are just making your position very bad. Now you have 3 pawn islands. And that's a very like difficult position to defend. So this move I did to do that. But is that actually good? And what would the engine recommend here? f6. f6 I fully understand. You're trying to get your king developed. For that I fully understand. King to f8 has the same idea. And the reason why I think I would prefer king f8 to f6 is, like I mentioned, you want to be very sparing, or you want to be very conscious in your pawn push usage. So king f8 doesn't compromise on your pawn pushes, right? John Bartholomew, who's the YouTuber I really enjoy like learning from, he calls pawns in the end game renewable and like non-renewable energy sources, right? Pawns are non-renewable energy sources. So the more you use them, the less energy you have. So you want to preserve as much energy as like possible in the game. And mostly you want to force your opponent to use up his energy so that when he runs out of gas, you can like overpower him over there. So both moves make sense to me. Did my move spoil my position too much? Not too much, right? So it may not be the top engine move, but I mean, it makes perfect sense. And this position is drawn. It just takes some technique. I'm just trying to figure out, is there a way I could have, for example, won this? I don't think there was, but let's just look at it. And here, okay, so I don't know. This probably would have been better. Because, again, we want to deal with this guy. Yes, there's check here, but that doesn't really matter. Unless, of course, he plays like f6. But then you can see that like I'm really infiltrating here. So I don't know. I played that. And here it says play h5. Yes. So now I do what my opponent wanted to do to me. And now you can see that my opponent is going to have some struggles with this guy. Not really, because 1, 2 just works. Pawn push is also there. But that's also another one. Right, so you want to kind of like lock your opponents. Now this pawn can't move freely. You get it? And the king can't easily infiltrate or come in through these sides. So h5 here makes sense. Sorry, h5 after this move makes sense. King f8 too. Also an equally good move. And I think it's for the exact same reason. But this move, I kind of lock my king out. And it's like the only way I have, the only play I have is to play on the king side, I guess. I think that's it here. King comes in. And here I was thinking something. Check. If he comes in this way, don't have pawn. Let me see this. Rook c3, check. King attacks the pawn. Rook c2 attacking the other pawn, but the pawn pushes, right? And here again, we see we are forcing our opponent to make moves. This is still draw, right? Because if you do this, I think you just want to trade off, right? You just want to trade off, or king to c5. Let's see. You don't want to trade off. This is losing. Yeah, it is. I guess the point is just to activate your rook to the point where your opponent's pawns at the back become like targets or easy targets that you can like prey on. I think that's the point. I think that's the point here. Oh, is that what I did? Oh, nice. I did play rook c3. Then my evaluation was correct. Okay. Rook to c2. My opponent defended, but I'm sure I'll defend the pawn. I did not. Oh, nice. So I went for active play. Nice. Nice. I didn't even, because I think I would have normally played this move. Yeah, because here you put your opponent on the defensive. And here you see why this move would have actually been very good. Like, imagine I had this move, like, instead of what I played here, imagine I had played this move. And let's say the same sequence happens. You see a slight difference, right? Check. He comes in here, f3, and then you see the problem here for my opponent. Right? Because now you want to push your pawn. But after takes, if you take, boom. And I think black is... You see the nuances. Right? And this is why I hate endgames. So it's like one move can really affect so much. So it would not be advisable for your opponent to play the exact same way. So this is why if you don't take care, you might miss stuff. So here, rook c2. f3 is still the move. And here. So your opponent should play king f4. And I think here is where we can draw the game. I don't know how you make headway in this position. Like king f8, I don't see the benefit. Right? Because like what I'm looking at here is like this, your opponent comes in, then you come in here again. We've established why your opponent might not want to capture this. And then you just repeat and you get a draw. So rook d2 here. I don't know, like, I think this is not what you want to play. Okay, it does work, but then there's a trade here. Okay, wait, no, not trade, sorry. Rook takes it, then just simply go back. Rook e2 check. King f4, and then the king just comes up. King g7? Not king here? Interesting. So that's a very nice idea here. So you want to go for the active play, right? You want to go for the active play here, and I think that was the good option. But then how would I have had to play it if, for example, I went not defending the pawn? Where is this? Not defending the pawn, but trying to come in this way. Let's say my opponent takes the rook. What would be the best way to respond to this, or what would be the best way to treat? It plays h. It says to play h5 here, because now the rook is not defended. But I still want to play h5 here. I mean, again, if everything has been discussed, we know why this move is good. But can we? I mean, our opponent would still have to play h4 first. Or do we allow our opponents to play like g4? Yes, we do. If we don't play it, we do allow our opponent to play g4. So we have to be very careful about that. That is actually quite... Hello. Earl Purple Chess. Welcome. Today is going to be... it's an interesting stream, but if you don't like endgames or you don't like slow chess, you might not enjoy the stream so much, because that's the way. And like, if you are somebody who wants to get good at chess, end games will really... It's annoying to study end because it's something like this. it's really something like this, and you want to try and figure out the ways to give yourself a chance to win, even if it's drawn. Right? This is what Magnus does. He tries to squeeze water out of stone. Try to find a way to get a good position out of this. And that's what you kind of like have to try and master. Though it's boring. So I know, yes, it's very clear that this position is drawn. So it's like, what's the point of analyzing this? Why don't you analyze something where there was actually a chance? But that's the thing. It depends on who you're playing against, right? So for example, if I had seen like, where was it? Yeah, if I had seen h5 here, you realize that I gain a chance and the onus is on my opponent here, right? The onus is on my opponent here to ensure that he doesn't make a mistake, right? And panic or do something. Like panic and play this and then he's just, right? So if you can put the onus on your opponent to make the mistakes, then that's where you want to be. If you have any suggestions as well on other move opportunities or stuffs, you can always point it out. But yeah, welcome to everyone. I'm happy seeing everyone sticking around. Though we are learning end games. Yeah, so with this move, if our opponent does take the pawn, we want to establish this. When all the pawns are on one side, I'm trying to principalize the whole thing. So it's like when all the pawns are on one side and you can prevent your opponent from advancing, you want to take over. Right? This move, I think you just meet it with g6. I don't think it's something you have to overcomplicate. Yeah. And would f4 be a good? I don't think f4 is going to be good here, right? I don't think f4 is going to be good here because you allow the rook to enter into the position. You don't think exclamation marks give commands on YouTube? Oh, really? I don't recall. Let me just post, because normally it posts. If it doesn't, then I'll just repost. Yeah, it does. Yeah. Okay. So yeah, I think this just gives me the opportunity to play this. Though I think it's also a little bit scary because you are really pushing your guys forward. Now the king is coming in. Again, you can sacrifice a pawn for activity. I think activity in the end game is very, very crucial. So you can even sacrifice this pawn because you are going to create problems here. And again, you're also up a pawn, so my opponent can do this. Is the game still drawn? Probably. I don't think you want to play h5 here though. What will my opponent play here? Rook d8 check. Let's see rook a4. The check, I feel like it helps me. Like if you play check and I come up here, I think it helps me. That's why I don't want to play that move. Because I'm definitely going to play it either ways. But it's h5 good here. That's what I do. h4. And my opponent ignores it. Is that okay? Fine. That's kind of like a very interesting one. So there are so many nuances in this position. But how did I play it though? I played my opponent played h4. I played g6. He played e5. And I played king g7. Here I think a slightly better option would be this. To try and slither over here, if that's the word. Check, and I choose to abandon this, which I think is a mature decision. I'm patting myself on the back here because normally I wouldn't be comfortable doing stuff like that. Okay. Then he allows that. Okay. So here do I have an opportunity? I think the move is obviously rook to e2. No, I didn't play that. Pawn push takes. Do I have an opportunity now? Still no, it's still equal. I played pawn push here. What about just this? Rook d4, rook e3. No, sorry, here. King g6. Trying to hold the pawn. So he came in, pawn push. I take. Well, at this point it's just drawn. Yeah, the point, like you can push it, but I was looking at something along these lines, and I felt I was going to lose here because you play this and then this is what like happens, and you can't take this. Now, your opponent is gonna just whenever he can, and I think this is whenever he wants to. If you try and defend this again, you get hit with this. You have to move somewhere. Takes. It's still drawn, I think. Let me go back through those lines and see if that was actually just drawn. It's still drawn. So annoying. So annoying. Okay, that's nice. This is the game he won, right? My opponent is playing as black. He won this one. So the first one was a draw. He won this one. So the point is, we want to see if we could have drawn. I think all these positions are like equal positions, right? Not the pawns are even kind of stuff. Takes. Rook takes, queen takes. Wait, what? Why did I move back? Ah, I see it now. Takes, knight jumps in. So I sacrifice the pawn here for the activity. Like, why would I? They banned you for cheating. Why would I? Like, why would you want to click? Come on, man, I can't. Like, why are you trolling? I don't know how they treat the cheating accounts, but if you can make a new account and not cheat, I think that would be the best. Because why would I want to put myself in that situation? Okay, so we trade off here. Takes, and now we have this. So here I felt I should be fine. So, I mean, that's like a funny thing to say because my opponent has these two pass pawns. I don't know what I could have played differently. Wait, why did I move there though? Couldn't I have just come this way? Just in case I want to play against Leela. Okay, I get what you're saying. Oh, but I often play viewers on Friday, so we can play on Friday. But please don't cheat when we play. Yeah, so this would have been fine. So why did I come in here? Was I so convinced of this idea that I would sacrifice a pawn? Because I think this is just a wrong decision. Wait, Queen D3 is actually a good move. Knight E4, the move I was also recommending. Sorry, my... So is there a way I could defend this, or am I just dead lost? Rook takes A7, fine. Rook B, he doesn't play Rook B8, he goes for the activity again. So we see this trend being continuously done of going for active play than just defensive play. Yeah, so basically he's like, you can take this guy, but I take this. And then we have a sort of similar... Wait, what? Okay, I understand why I played that, but I think this would be better. And allowing this would be okay. And the reason is because I can win these two. Right, you still have to watch this guy. Maybe you can play this first. But like, you still have to watch. You can't move away. You can. I was thinking that maybe you had this, but after takes you just... Okay, so let's look at this with the engine. So I played f6 here. So here F3 is also supported by the engine. Rook B7 is also supported by the engine. It says both are still draws, but I think this one gives you a chance. So Rook E4. Again, like I said, if I start lagging, it's because I turned on my engine. My processor is bad. And then here, oh, taking now makes more sense than pushing because you deal with these two. And now it's a 3-on-2, but we all know that this is still a draw. I think this is the 6th rank defense that you play. And that's about it. So is that what I did? Yeah, that's what I did, right? I take 2k. But the contrary here. Taking here first. He plays beef. And it's difficult to deal with it. Maybe not. I don't know. Maybe we come in with this. Any attempt to win the pawn, I think just like this is just winning from our opponent, isn't it? I don't think I can stop these 2 pawns. Yeah. But how did I lose this then? What did I play? Rook takes F7, F3. Why? Oh, okay, makes perfect sense. I think the idea I'm talking about here is that the king cannot cross over. And yeah, it's still wrong because here your opponent can start with this move. Pawn push, they come in here and you have nothing. Right? This move, that like we've seen already, this move doesn't work. So I think this move is the mistake, right? It's not? Yeah, it is. It is. Because here I should be winning because he plays pawn push. So you just take H7. Because your opponent... Oh boy. Wow. Yeah, if your opponent takes... Sorry, let me just establish that point. If your opponent takes, right? King takes pawn push. Sorry, not here. F3. After this move, you can take here. If your opponent takes, your opponent cannot defend in time, right? This is what he would want to do, and then you get the queen. That's interesting. So F3 actually gives my opponent the chances to make a mistake. And you can see here, right? Completely drawn position, but just this one move is actually not good for my opponent. My opponent should rather focus on stopping this guy. Wait, what happened? My opponent should rather focus on stopping the pawn because the pawn is a bigger threat than this one, right? But I didn't see that. I played Rook F6. And this is why I think... Okay, I stopped here. Took the pawn here. So almost a similar position to the previous one I had where my opponent... In that game, I had the passed pawn. And I did the passed pawn. And my opponent had to defend it. I think... What did I do here? I played Rook D4. I think Rook D4 is not how you want to start it. I think you want to start with King. I think your first train of thought is... Probably I want to get my king up. My issue with that for now is if you do play this is an annoying move, right? And I'm not so convinced about sacrificing this. So let's say I take, my opponent takes, Rook B7 to win this guy. What about this? Is just not good because my opponent can play Rook C2 check and I can't come in this way like I want. I can, and H4, my Rook defends it laterally. But I am not comfortable with this position. It's playable, but I'm not comfortable with it. Playable, but I'm not comfortable with it. So, I mean, what would make me comfortable is the other line that the engine recommends. For example, yes, I allow my opponent to come into the center. I can take this guy. I'm a little bit worried about the fact that my opponent can like lock my king. And how do I play? Am I just losing here? White is actually fine here. Why? Rook g7, just targeting this. Let's say my opponent pushes. Rook takes. King c5. King e1. Oh, because now that my rook is defending it, I have the ability to come in here. And I just have to defend against this one. My opponent does not have the liberty to just be pushing this pawn, because you would have to defend this with your rook and your king, right? So since your rook cannot leave the defense of this pawn, I can freely deal with this, because the moment you leave with your rook, I can capture this pawn, and now it's like a three pawns and a rook versus a rook. That's just winning. So I think, yeah, the pawn cannot really promote. But this is the line I went for. I thought I could draw. I think this is too slow. I think here you want to sacrifice the activity. Yeah, because when I did this, it's still good, but you see what happens here. And like now I'm stuck to the back rank, which is not often where you want to be. So I think what would have been slightly better here is to play this, let him come in with check, and then come in here, right? Because once you take here, I can take here with check. King moves, God knows where. Actually, this is not a good move. I think if I play this, I'm just losing, because takes, and then here. Then maybe here. Takes, king takes. Do I? Yeah. Wait, isn't this drawn? No, isn't this a win? Yeah, because these are the key squares, right? I come in here, rather. I think this is what keeps it oh. Yeah, it's a win, because he gets to the key square. That is key square. Okay, so yeah, I'm right. This move is not correct. What about if I push him further? Like, I was thinking about this, but your opponent just lost the position, so there's no point, right? Yeah, so you don't want to do that. I think you just want to bring your king closer. Rook c4, rook e4. Okay, let's go rook c4. G5. You just take, he takes. And here I think it's a draw. We go in with our king. I don't know what our opponent is going to do here. And then we just keep dilly-dally, shilly-shally, right? You come in check, he comes back, you come in again, you do all that. Wait, sorry. Yeah. Oh boy. So I shouldn't have lost this. I think. So what did I do wrong here? This is not completely lost, but the fact that it kind of puts me back. And the reason why I want to go back is because, like, if I come in here, my opponent just has free. That's kind of like why you want to move back. Yeah, I played this move. This move is actually wrong, because your opponent can just play. Okay, yeah. So I think I can remember what happens here. We get this whole thing. But I should have just traded off here, right? This is just wrong. Even if the king takes, right? This should be a draw, right? Yeah, this is a draw. This rather is a draw, because I have the opposition. And we know what's gonna happen here, right? We just keep following here. And the position is just very simple. Just keep following here, and then opponent just can't do anything. Oh, end games. And this is one where I won. We've looked at one where I withdrew, one where I lost, and one where I won. So I shouldn't have lost that, but I messed up. So let's skip again. Again, the opening, the middle game is not so much important. I'm looking at when we get into the end game, like the decision to trade into the end game and the others. Pawn push, okay. So we are in an endgame here. After this, we'll play some games. For those who want to see games, we'll play some games. Already, I see a plan for white here, which is g4. So I think if I was black, one idea I would go for is a4 in this position. Sorry, h4. h4 here closes this whole chapter and gives him a target. But what did he do? He played this rather. And this gives me the opportunity to play like a4 myself. I went c4. I think I was convinced that this move can't work. Okay, so I went for my plan because I think I was more afraid of him stopping my plan. Because I mean, in this position, this was definitely a playable move. That way, if like takes, rook takes, and then here. And then I think my opponent, sorry. I think he just moves away. But then I'll get this. I think it's just winning for white. It's not. Why isn't it winning? Rook d3. G takes h5. G takes h5. King takes a5. King f5. Okay. That was actually wrong there. So wait, is this in particular wrong? This whole idea is wrong. So here it's king c3. What? No? King c3. Still black has pressure because of this pawn. Okay. So here I think it's still even. Takes. Pawn takes. King to b2 I think is not an easy move to see. I was trying to play active here. I think I was looking along the lines of check. King has to move somewhere and then I have this. But I don't see how that prevents my opponent from going for his plans. And here trading allows my opponent to infiltrate. So I don't think that's also what you want to do. And this move just doesn't help, right? You could play this move, but then you see the issue that comes up here. It just doesn't work. So you don't trade. I defended. And the point for defending here is now, if you take, I think I'm okay with this position. I think I even have this move if I wanted to. Or I could even, no, not this move. Actually, I think this move is good for black. It's drawn. King to e4. That's crazy. Because what about my opponent plays here? f5. Oh, and it's like I build a wall. I build a wall here. My opponent has to go like back. I don't know which back is suitable for my opponent, but now this gives me the opportunity to, for example, like play this suitable for my opponent. But now this gives me the opportunity to, for example, like play this move. What's happening? Again, you play this move, I play pawn push. Your king has to make a move. You play the wait, this is losing. This is losing. Sorry. So not up but side. Not up but side. The point is again here. Your opponent cannot reach this. Why am I again? Yeah, and this because now your opponent cannot win this guy. Like your opponent cannot come in here to win this guy. The moment you take this promotes. So you kind of have to like keep watching this. So you have to keep watching this. Like you come back here, or you play pawn push. What is this? Pawn push. What is happening? Like the internet is so slow right now. I don't know what's going on. Takes. And here white is winning. Here, white is winning. So I guess that's the point, right? So yeah, if my opponent was to take over here, that's what we. But instead, we got these. Where did my opponent make his mistake? Oh, he lost on time. Okay. So it was actually still a draw. He lost on time. It's still a drawn position. Lost on time. So, I mean, we can just keep repeating here. If he attacks me, I just deal with this guy. And even if we trade off all the rooks and he captures this pawn, we can see that this is like... Okay. Hope you guys learned something. I know I did. Those are some interesting games. Okay. Okay, let's go for center. Opponent gives me the center, so I will take the center. Interesting. We're actually discussing these lines on yesterday's stream. Normally, you just want to play B, but I'm trying to be very fast about it. Takes. I think I can just play pawn push here, right? I don't think I actually. Kind of slowed down though. Okay. I don't know. My opponent, these moves don't make much sense. It's like he wants to start an attack here, but he brought the queen out this way. Six. Ah. Mm. I don't know so much. Then take with the pawn. Taking now. I can play takes though. Ah, my attack is just fizzling out. Kind of happy to see that. Let's say I come in this way. Pawn takes doesn't help me. Let's take. Okay. Ah. I hate the fact that I seem to be going backwards. If I play pawn. Wait, does that actually help? I think it does. It's a strange move allowing my opponent to trade off, but I think I get something. Time is usually not helping me. No need to do come in here. Switch up the idea. I'm thinking on the fly here. I haven't really figured out this. Have this move. He blocks me. I didn't notice the block for sure. Trying to play fast. Is he really going to go? The kind of problem he has with this, I don't know if there's a point when I can sacrifice it. I'm still keeping my eye out for that. Actually, I think I can even sacrifice now. Takes. Let me do this move. I want my opponent to make a move. He kind of got my... Okay. I'm running out of time. I have to figure out something. To Frank, I was actually dominating this game and then I just lost everything. I think here I draw the game. Unless, of course, my opponent still wants to. Especially with this fast pawn. Actually, it's not really drawn because of that move. Oh wait, it's not showing. Oh, sorry about that. Give me a second. I can't win this. It's just. keep forgetting that this thing is not showing. Give me a second. Where is this? Ooh, I was actually having that game. Okay. Gonna have to figure this out. So, I just went down. So 2000 Blitz, 2000 Rapid, 1800 on chess.com, and then 1600 on FIDE. Let's go. Okay. 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 I prefer to play it like this. Okay. Let me play something I don't usually play against this. I had a feeling I'd messed up when I allowed that. Rather? Rather. I shift to an aggressive position. One push. I'm playing for. I'm really not considering my moves, which is not a good thing or a good sign. Ah. 'I've considered my moves a little bit more than I actually did. Should have considered. I was just worried about him playing a different move, a different line. I'm gonna check with this. Takes, queen takes. Taking, I feel like it's not. Thanks, Isles. I think this is my second time. Now the move like I'm expecting him to play. Not a bad move, like doesn't play. Pressure. I could have taken. Why didn't I? In it for the biscuit. I sincerely don't think he should have played that. That was too greedy of my opponent. Yep. That was just too greedy. That was too greedy. I was hoping he would actually play that, and he did. See how all the stress just drained from. Boda, I play viewers on Fridays. Come around on Friday, I'll play. That was crazy. I don't know. He was winning the game. Like, he won the game around here. I like, that's just crazy. He won the game when he played this move. Takes here. I played this move, and now your rook comes in. Because at this point I was like, yeah, I'm just done, right? Because here there's no like open line. There's no open line for me to attack. So I would have to agree to this trade. I mean, you even have this move, right? Because if I take it, doesn't help me. If I play pawn push, still doesn't help me, because now stuff like this opens up, taking and bringing, like opening up the position. I don't know. I think my opponent. Yeah, I think that's it. I think that's just the move. King to f2, and then rook. Doesn't say rook. Why not? a5. Why not just rook here? Is this really bad? It's good for white? How? I get that I have the material advantage, but I'm like 1, 2, 3 versus 1, 2, 3, 4. Nah, I don't see it. I'll analyze this off stream. Analyze that game off stream. That's crazy. I thought that just won him the game. So I think he does know chess better than me, because he analyzed that as not good for him. I think maybe he was worried that I could eventually double up and start pressuring his king. And this knight is very well placed. My only problem for now is the bishop. Not that it's a bad bishop for my side, but that it really doesn't have any good squares to go to. Ah, he's also playing down the bishop. Yes, these guys are locked out. Yes. So he has to find a way to free out his pieces, which may not take too long. But yeah, in that time, I think I can just bounce back and fight him. That was actually interesting. That was actually an interesting game. The whole time in that position, I was just thinking about how do I counterattack. I was actually thinking about like sacrificing my knight. I might make this a video. Sacrificing my knight. I was kind of thinking about sacrificing my knight to what are the words I'm trying to say? I was actually thinking, oh boy. Oh, did I allow that? Like normally you want to get this guy here to deal with the guys. Okay. Is this correct or wrong? Idea. I really want it. Alignment issues. I think it's a necessary evil. This a normal tactic. Bishop comes into defend. It's quite annoying now because now I actually need to figure out. Can't seem to figure it out. The obvious move I'm looking at is just this queen takes. Oh wait, actually that works. I did not realize. You have queen takes with check for sure. Wait. If I play here, knight comes in. If I play here, queen comes in. Yes. I jump in here. Queen comes in check again. So if I want to prevent the checks, I have to come in here. Oh, okay. Completely messed up. Yeah, so I've messed up. That was just bad. We have to come in this. We're going to block it again. Yes. Doesn't block. This allows him to check me with queen. Back rank is fine. Still can't check me. Right, successfully. Oh, what a mess up. I tried to force an idea and it didn't work. This is the results. I'm paying the price of greed. Okay, back the. Oh, when you mess up and then the tactics just start flowing. So annoying. Takes. Yeah. Oh no, that's just. Why am I blundering? Oh, he doesn't see it. So can I just take here and be free? Takes check. This is what I was expecting him to do. I'm in this way. Back rank is safe. My attack still exists. Now more so than ever. He sees it. Check. Does he have any more attacks that I'm not seeing? Oh, I missed. Oh my. I just hate the way I've played it. Like I just hate the way I've played it. But there were better things to play than what I. Oh, okay. Takes. Woo! Oh, that was just dumb. That was just dumb. Like that was just dumb. Come on, that was terrible. We won, but that was just terrible. Guys, if you're enjoying the stream, always remember to like, comment, and subscribe. It does help me out. That's for the Twitch viewers there. That's for the YouTube viewers. If you're on Twitch, I mean, everybody can join the Discord. That was just. That was just bad. That was just bad. I overestimated my position there. I thought the check would amount to nothing. It did in a sense, but like, yeah, like I thought I could play this and then come in here. If there was no check, this move makes perfect sense. But the check really ended up messing me up. I did manage to like, yeah, here is where I felt like, okay, I'm just right. If you hadn't played this move, I'd have been fine, right? Because here you just take a check. I'd have to block this way. Maybe he didn't like the fact that I had access to this square. Maybe. That sucks. That actually sucks. That actually sucks. Another game as white. Okay. We will take it. We will definitely take it. Okay. There are different like ways people play this position. I think what I played is wrong. Mostly you want to keep the pawn tension and then release it later on. I think my move order is not optimal. Yeah, because I think I should have played this first to deal with this. I think I still play, but I think now my opponent is just fine. Like as compared to what would have been his position, I think he's just fine. Okay. C5. I mean, I could. It just feels too risky, especially with the knight coming in. I can play this. Oh. I might make a controversial move. Ich. Yeah, I was a greedy one. Ah, that doesn't work. I'm coming there. Yeah, I'm streaming. Why do I turn winning positions into losing positions? Can someone please answer this question? He's just going to double up, that's all. I mean, it was hanging. Oh, oh. But that's just. What's it the trade off? What? Okay, I was even thinking. It's just. Oh, that was sad actually. Where did I mess up here though? I got greedy. There was just one move I made that was extremely greedy, which was like here. That move was greedy. This move was better. That move, bishop move would have solved everything. Bishop would have solved. I think this is just winning. I think this is just. There were other plans I could have gone for, but this is where, yeah, bishop to b5. Yeah. Bishop to b5. I say winning like I win the game automatically, but I mean there's still stuff to be played. There are weaknesses I have that my opponent can target, but like this position, my opponent is. Damn. That sucks. Anyways, thank you guys so much for being around. I did enjoy your company here. Being around, I really enjoyed your company. Those who chatted in the chat, thank you so much. If you are interested in coaching, you can always hit me up. The email that's about to appear on your screen, masonchess@gmail.com, and we'll speak from there. Thank you guys so much for your time. Next time I'll be streaming is on Friday. That's when I play viewers. So if you're interested in playing me, come around on Friday and we'll have a great time.